Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Timikemza James. My new subscribers, you're welcome. Our old subscribers, you're all welcome. So in today's video, we're going to be learning how to make this bonnet on my head, right? So it's actually reversible. It has the satin side which is inside. My hair is a mess, so I really don't want to show you that, but it has the reversible side, right? So please do ensure to like, share and subscribe. Most importantly, hit the subscribe button, guys. It's totally free, right? So, and share this video with your friends and like this video. If you have any questions or you have suggestions or any video you'd love to see in the future, comment down below and I would be there to reply you and bring you the videos that you love most. So let's get into sewing. So I'll be using this Ankara print. It's from my collection, Timikemza James on Instagram, and this satin fabric here. So we'll be needing a yard of each. It might not, I'm not going to be using the complete yard, but half yard will not be enough. So just something a little bit bigger than half yard, right? So I'm going to be measuring 10.5 like so to determine how much I need to fold. So I'm measuring out 10.5. So what I want to do is actually to make cut out a circle 10.5 on this side as well. Then I'm going to be folding it like you would fold your handkerchief, or folding it in 4 like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be marking from this point now, right? That's going to be my starting point. I'll mark 10 inches from there like this, marking 10 inches round. So what I want to do is just to create a circle. So this 10 inches now is the radius I'm using to find the circumference of my circle, right? So I have it like this. I don't know if you can see that very well. Maybe come with the camera closer so you can see. So here we go, 10-inch round. So I'm going to be cutting that out. So guys, if you want a bigger bonnet, right, you would cut your circle to be like 13 or 14 inches wide, but just bear in mind that that would be like really wide. So I'm going to cut the exact same thing on my satin fabric. So this satin that I'm using is actually called doll face satin. We have the shiny face, so you can use whatever you want. Just trying to lay out the satin properly. Then I'll do the same thing. So I have my both panels like so. So you can see this is pretty big, right? But if you have a maybe your hairdo that you want to be using this for, if your hairdo is really full hair, then you might need to do that one that is like 13 inches wide. Joining these two together because I want it to be really long. So the longest your fabric can contain, the better, because when wrapping your hair, right, you want the the wrap portion to be really long, so I'm just measuring out 11 inches wide. That's how long, that's how wide it is, and this one too is also 11 inches. So this is what I have. By the time I join this together, I'm going to be folding it like so, so that when I'm done, my wrap is going to be around 10 my wrap is going to be around 5 inches 5 inches wide. So let's get into sewing. So guys, I'm going to sew round the edge of this circle, right? But I'm not going to be closing it, so I'm going to be sewing it, and when I get to the point where I start, I'm going to be leaving out like 3 inches open, right? So I'm just using like a quarter of an inch to sew round the circle. So when I get to this point where I started like 3 inches or 2 inches, I'm going to leave that side open. I'll be using that side to turn over my hat, right? But before I turn that over, I'm just going to be cutting through close to my seam, not through the seam, right? This would enable my circle to turn over properly with ease. I'm just cutting that round, and I'm done taking them out. Then I'm going to turn over. You see, I have this point open here, so I'm going to turn the entire cap through that side. Mind you, I matched right side facing right side, so I sewed on the wrong side of my both fabric, so I'm turning it back over to the right side of the fabrics. So this is it, guys. So I'm going to go over now to give it a nice press. I have my bonnet here, right? So I'm going to find that point where I left open, right? And I'm going to be sewing again, because I'm going to be passing I'm going to be passing, okay, here we have it, right? I've ironed it nicely, that's why I couldn't see it. So I'm going to be passing this elastic band through that point, right? So you can see what it looks like. So it's not that big. So this is, let me measure this. This is not even up to half an inch, right? So we have like 0.4 is about 0.4 inches, which is around a centimeter, 1 centimeter wide. So I'm going to be sewing the cage with like about half-inch round again on my bonnet. So I'm sewing like half of an inch or 0.7 thereabout. So I'm sewing that round to create another opening that I'll be passing my elastic through it. So I'm just doing this carefully, right? Just make sure that you're using the same seam allowance round where you can pass your elastic. When I sew and I get to the point where I started, right, I'm going to stop around 1 inch. So this is the point where I started sewing here, you can see. right? So I'm going to stop around 1 inch and leave the opening to about 1 inch, or half an inch would still, but half an inch will be stressful for you, right? So I advise you do 1 inch. So on the inside, this is what it looks like, right? So I'm going to be measuring my head round, so that I will know. I don't want any elastic being too tight on my head or anything like that. So I have 24 inches. You don't want to do it tight, right? You just want something like this. So I have 24 inches. Now I'm going to bring my safety pin. You can see, right? This safety pin. So on my elastic, I'll be measuring out 24 inches. You can do 20 inches if you don't mind it being a little bit tight, but I really don't want it to be tight. So I'm doing 24 inches exact. If I discover that it's too big, I can easily adjust that. So I'm going to, if you have a loop turner or something, you can use it to fix this, but I'm using this safety pin like this, right? So that point where I left an opening of 1 inch here, you can see I'm just going to insert see, I'll just hold this so that I make sure I don't pass it through all through. So you can see our bonnet is already forming. By the time I come back out like so, I'm just going to take out I'm taking that out. So I'm going to be sewing closed my elastic, right? You can just tighten it, you can just go ahead and tighten it, but I'm going to just sew it. I'm going to be making a back stitching, sewing and back stitching until I ensure that my stitches are strong enough. So this thread that just cut is most likely to happen to you as well, because I discovered anytime I'm sewing elastic like so, I get this challenge. So this is it. I can now leave everything in like this, right? But before I do that, I'm going to close that corner that I have open. I'm going to make sure I close it. So this opening that I have, I'm going to stitch that close. You can do that with your hand needle, right? Then also this 1 inch that I left on the inner seam, I'll close that as well. I just discovered that it wasn't even necessary leaving that point open, so you can just sew it round actually. So I'm just going to be spreading the gathers and the ruffles around. So guys, this is what our bonnet looks like, right? So it depends on how you want. Maybe you have a very full braid or a full weave or something like that, and you want all the hair to be able to be contained. You use, instead of the 10 inches that I used, you can use 13 or 14 inches, right? So this size is okay for me, right? So you can see this is what it looks like without the wrap. So now let's go over to make the wrap, right? I'm going to be joining this together. I'm going to join this so that I make my rope really, really long. I love long wraps. Even when maybe I'm buying hair ties or I'm making hair ties for myself, I really like it long, because the longer it is, the more control you have over it, right? And it gives you more, you can use it to do so many styles. So I have it like this. So this is long. If I had more fabric, I would have made it longer actually. That's to tell you how much I love long wraps. So I'm going to sew this side. I'm going to close it like so, right side facing right side, and sew across like this. Believe it or not, guys, when closing anything African print, they have a little bit of stretch, so you have to be careful while doing this. So when I get to this end, right, I'm going to be sewing here closed. Remember, the point where we started is open, so I'm going to use that to turn it over. So here is closed, right, is open, so I'm going to be turning through this side. So this is our wrap, right? So I'm going to be closing this. So I'm bringing the seam side to the middle, and I'll be folding it like so to close this edge nicely. You can just go ahead and overlock that point with your overlocker, but I'm just doing this instead, right? So guys, here we have our wrap, right? So you can actually just get maybe a velcro, attach it on this side and attach it on one side of the turban as well, and of the bonnet as well, or you use a press button to just attach this, or you can just go ahead and sew it somewhere on this and tag that, right? But I don't want to do that, because I want to be able to wear this as a bonnet only and be able to wear it also as a head wrap, right? So I'm going to be trying it out as a head wrap. Look, you can see it's reversible. You can also wear this side depending on which side you'd like most, right? So now I'm going to be trying that as a head wrap, as a bonnet. This is it as a bonnet, right? I can decide to tuck all my hair. If your hair is not too much, this should be able to contain your hair. If it's just like mine, you can see this is what it looks behind and all, right? So now I can decide to use this as a head wrap also, right? And I'm just going to be doing it, wrapping it around my hair. I'll need a mirror for this, so I'm just going to do this off camera and show you.